Right, hello guys, it's Lewis here and welcome back to episode number 2 of Speaking Sport. I'd like to apologise for no upload in like 2 and a bit weeks. I have recently started sixth form and it's a big change to year 11 life. And I've been catching up with work, sort of getting up on work and just settling down, so that's been my main focus. But now hopefully I'm back making videos at least once a week. So in today's video I'm going to be talking about the direction that the England test team is going in for the upcoming series in the UAE against Pakistan, starting on the 13th of October, because the Ashes, as you may know, because the Ashes have just finished. As I just mentioned, there is a test series coming up against Pakistan in the UAE, starting on the 13th of October. The ODI and T20 sides are going out there as well, but I'm not going to mention them, just the test side, because otherwise the video will be too long. I think it was last Tuesday, I'm going to say, that the test squad was released, not the 11, but the squad that's going out there. Opener Adam Life was excluded, and also Gary Balance, both Yorkshire men, but Alex Hales and James Taylor were included. There has been a lot of talk about how England are going to fit in 2 spinners into their team and how they're going to get a new opening batsman because Adam Life's obviously been dropped and out of form. So I'm going to give my view on the squad that I would pick. Probably unlikely because I'm not an England selector and they have different views and a more insight of the squad. But I'm going to give my view on what my team would be if I was out there. So at the top of the order, I think it's an obvious choice. I'm going to start off with captain Alastair Cook. Alastair Cook was out of form. Let's talk about him dropping the captaincy. He has just captained England to Ashes victory. I mean, it's quite rare that you see a side win a series 3-2, but the 2 games they lost were by 400 runs in an innings or something stupid like that. But he's come back into form. He hasn't hit a massive century as of yet, but he did get like 96, 95, a couple of 80s maybe in the innings and in the Ashes. So he's back in form and he's back at the top of the order. He was gonna drop the captaincy. He had thoughts about it, he said, but in my opinion, he's the guy to take England forward at the minute. My pick for his partner to open the batting in the UAE is Moeen Ali. Now, I could have included Alex Hales here, but in my opinion, to get 2 spinners into the team, England need to include Moeen Ali at the top of the order. He's a specialist batsman because his bowling is a bit off sometimes, but he does bowl off spin very well if the pitches are suited, and in the UAE, pitches are made for spinners. So him opening, if he can do well, England might have it for the future as well, which is obviously handy because then they can include another spinner down the order, which they wouldn't originally have had. There's no obvious partner for Alastair Cook, with Alex Hales not ever played Test cricket before, and he's out of form in the ODI, or the short form altogether of the game. Moeen Ali has opened before for the ODI squad, I believe, and he batted at 3 in the T20 team in the game against Australia. He's opened before for his county. There's a space to fill, so why not give him a go? If it doesn't work after a game or 2, maybe give Alex Hales a go. But for my opinion, to start off with, England should open the batting with Alastair Cook and Moeen Ali. In at number 3 for England, I have new boy James Taylor. Now, because England rested Joe Root, James Taylor batted number 3 in the ODI team this summer, I guess, against Australia, and he got a century. He batted very slowly, which made me thought, in a test team, he would fit in there. It's not very often you see batsmen go more than one run a ball in the test team, so James Taylor would fit in well for me, and he's been on the fringe of the ODI team for a long time, and he took his chance by the throat. I mean, in at number 3 is a big call. You might be thinking, where's Ian Bell? He's in the team, he's lower down the order, but he's shown he can bat in the ODI team. Why not give him a go in the test team? He's out there for a reason. He hasn't played since 2012, I think. He's 25, I believe. I believe he could be a good player out there in the UAE. In at number 4, I have England's best batsman, Joe Root. Now, I would prefer Joe Root to be in at number 5, but there's reasons why he isn't, which I'll explain later. But he is the previously number 1 ranked batsman, only going down after Steve Smith and AB de Villiers overtook him because of his, dip of form in the last test. He's England's future captain. There was talk of him by certain people about him being the new captain, but I believe being the best player, you have to have that off your mind. He's happy, he's always smiling, he's a good scorer, he guarantees runs. So having your best player there, scoring runs, not the weight of captaincy on your back, and I believe he's going to do very well again for England, and he's going to have a massive future ahead. Now, in at number 5 for England is Ian Bell. This is why I didn't include Joe Root at number 5, because Ian Bell at 4 obviously didn't work. It didn't work against New Zealand, it didn't work against Australia. But 2 years ago, Ian Bell batted at 5 in the Ashes when England won that series 3-0. I think he got the highest amount of runs in that series. He got nominated for Sports Personality of the Year. He's been chucked all over the order. I'm not entirely sure why he was moved from number 5, because there's no solid person down at number 5. I mean, it was Joe Root, but he got moved up. Now Johnny Bairstow, who hasn't exactly consolidated his place in at number 5. I mean, Bell has been a good England player for years. He's recently retired from ODI cricket, which, when he mentioned that, I got a favourite of him on Twitter. He's shown he could do it before at number 5. Why not give him another go at number 5? He's lower down the order. He's going to be free scoring. Definitely not number 4 for me. So why not put England's ex-vice captain, most senior player in where he's best. In at number 6 for me, which I think was fairly certain, is Ben Stokes. I mean, the New Zealand-born all-rounder, he's a very good player, he's got character on him. He can either be a specialist in bowling or batting. It's rarely both. I mean, he showed he could swing the ball in, what game was it? I think it was a 4th test, I want to say. I might be wrong there. He showed he could bat. He got a century in Australia in 2013, the only England player to do that. He showed he could bat, he showed he can bowl, but for me, he's only young, but he has to show that he can do both at the same time. But he is England's best all-rounder, he's one of their best players, and you can't leave him out of this team. In at number 7, I have wicketkeeper Jos Buttler. I was very tempted here to replace him with Jonny Bairstow, who has been batting at 5, who's been used as a batsman recently. But for me, Buttler is young, he's an outstanding wicketkeeper, which ultimately he's in the squad to do. But these days, you have to be a good batsman as well, and he's not got many good scores. I think his highest score in the Ashes was in the 30s. He's struggling with the outside edge. He just needs to go out there, put bat to ball, get some runs in and get his confidence back, because he's a brilliant player, don't get me wrong. His wicket keeping is excellent, there's no problem there. But if he is struggling for runs, then Jonny Bairstow could easily come in. In at number 8, I have Adil Rashid. Now, Rashid has been used as low as 10 in the ODI form, but he's shown he can bat. He got 60 odd against New Zealand. He got 35 not out against Australia. He's a brilliant leg spin bowler in ODI cricket. He's been on the fringe of the first team for so long, but because of Moeen Ali and Adam Lyth at the top of the order, he hasn't been included. That's why I put Moeen Ali up the order, because Moeen Ali bowling is off spin, Adil Rashid bowling is leg spin. That's 2 brilliant spin options for England. They've shown they can bowl spin in the ODI against Australia. I think it was the 4th one, maybe the 3rd one. But you need to have 2 spinners in the UAE. And Adil Rashid, no one else is going to get in there to start off with. But if he could bat, he could bowl, why not include him? Number 8. Number 9 for me is Mr. Reliable Stuart Broad. Brilliant bowler, there's no doubt about that. He was out of form with his batting, struggling with the short ball ever since the ball got stuck in his visor. He's come back into form-ish with the bat. He's quite handy to have at number 9. But let's talk about his bowling. He took like 8 for 16, 8 for 15, something like that in one of the Ashes matches. And that was outstanding because he needed to step up when Anderson was out. And he did step up. He's still only 28, so he's got a lot, well I say a lot, he's got a bit to come ahead of him. And he's a deadly new ball partner. Now for me, he should be in the ODI and T20 team. But in a way that's a positive because he's been rested from that so he can all go in the tests. And he's handy to have a batting at number 9 and he's a brilliant bowler and there's no doubt he won't be included. Number 10. In my batting order for England is the king of swing, Jimmy Anderson. Jimmy Anderson is getting on a bit. He's 32, 33. He recently got injured, but he's still England's best bowler. He's taken the most test wickets ever for them, over 400, going on for 500 some point, hopefully. He's a brilliant swing bowler, brilliant opening bowler. He forms a deadly partnership with Stuart Broad, but there's one thing I did want to mention about his batting, because there's no doubt about his bowling. Now, one thing I noticed when Jimmy Anderson comes in to bat at number 11, like he did in the Ashes, is he likes to slog it. I don't see the point of having that in at number 11, because say you've got someone like Joe Root and Jimmy Anderson in. If Jimmy Anderson's coming out slogging, then he's going to get out because he's not a batsman. And then that's going to cost Joe Root. I mean, they might I'm not saying they won't change the tactics because of what's happening, but if he's coming out slogging, he's going to get out pretty soon. He comes in at 10 rather than 11 for me, ahead of Stephen Finn, who I'm going to say now purely for this point, who I've got at number 11. He's going to come out slogging. It doesn't matter if he gets out, because if he gets out, you've still got the number 11 to come in. So your higher up batsman can still get in there, getting the runs. If Jimmy Anderson gets out, you've still got the number 11, is what I'm trying to say. And if he doesn't get out, then that's a bonus. He's comes out slogging, maybe connects with a few balls, gets a few runs, maybe get a high score, and Bob's your uncle. So number 11, as I've already said, that's 6. Number 11, Stephen Finn. I'm so happy that this guy is back in the team, like back in form, I guess. He's been taking wickets. He's expensive at times and sometimes unreliable, but for me, he gets in the side ahead of Mark Wood, who is also very unreliable. But there's no reason you can't switch and turn, maybe. He's England's best bowler in the short form of the game, but in the longer form of the game, he's a brilliant third seaming option, ahead of Ben Stokes and behind Stuart Broad and Jimmy Anderson. And he's back in the team. He's still relatively young. He's 26, I think. He's a good bowler and he does take wickets, which you've seen when he got straight back into the side. He's also very good at blocking and batting, which is why I put him below Jimmy Anderson, because he blocks. He's quite good at it to let the other end batsman just keep going on with it, getting the run. So that pretty much summarises my lineup, my England lineup, which I would put out in the UAE against Pakistan to start off with. Andrew Strauss has come out saying that he wants England to be the #1 ranked test side in cricket. For me, he can't do that with Moeen Ali as a #1 spinner, so him up the order and allowing Adil Rashid to come in is a good idea for me. Now, if you do like cricket and you enjoyed this video, feel free to comment down below your opinions. I'll be happy to discuss with you in the comments or give me a tweet on Twitter. You can follow all those social networks down below. If you did enjoy the video, please like, comment down below. Also, please subscribe to my channel, it really helps me out. And I'll see you next time in my next video. Do Swidania.